Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So before we get started, make sure to hit the like button, also subscribe to my channel. In this video, we will talk about unsolved mysteries that will keep you up at night. So make sure to watch the full video. Get ready to have the hair on the back of your neck stand up when you read this roundup of the strangest unsolved mysteries of our time. Beware, some of these unsolved mysteries contain graphic violent content and should be read with discretion. 1. The body on Somerton Beach. In December 1948, a body was found on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. The body was a man who was dressed impeccably in a suit with polished shoes, and his head was slumped against a wall. Authorities thought the cause of death was heart failure or more likely poisoning, but no trace of poison was found in the autopsy. Inside the pocket was a rolled-up piece of paper from a rare book called the Rubbead. The piece of paper had the words Tamam Shud on it, which means it has ended. After months of looking for the exact book, authorities decide to bury the Somerton man without identification, although a cast was taken of the bust and he was embalmed to preserve him. 2. The strange disappearance of D.B. Cooper. On Wednesday, November 24, 1971, a man identified as Daniel Cooper bought a $20 one-way ticket on Northwest Airlines on Flight 305 from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. Cooper was described as being in his mid-40s, wearing a business suit, an overcoat, brown shoes, a white shirt, and a black tie. He also carried a briefcase and a brown paper bag. Cooper told the flight attendant to write down everything he was saying and then take it to the captain. The note said, "I want $200,000 by 5 p.m. in cash exclusively in $20 bills, put in a knapsack. I want 2 back parachutes and 2 front parachutes. When we land, I want a fuel truck ready to refuel. No funny stuff, or I'll do the job." 3. The Black Dahlia Murder. On January 15, 1947, the remains of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia, were found on the block of 3800 S. Norton Avenue in Los Angeles. The body was cut in half and so pale and drained of blood that the woman who found the body mistook it for a mannequin at first. It read the Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles papers. Here is Dahlia's belongings, letter to follow. As promised, the envelope contained Short's social security card, birth certificate, photographs, names written on pieces of paper, and an address book with pages missing, and the name Mark Hansen embossed on the cover. Gasoline was used to clean the objects, removing the fingerprints. 4. Wall Street bombing of 1920. During the lunch rush on Wall Street on a September day in 1920, a nondescript man driving a cart pressed an old horse forward in front of the U.S. Assay Office, across from the J.P. Morgan building. He stopped his cart, got down, and immediately disappeared into the crowd. Minutes later, the cart exploded into a hail of metal fragments, immediately killing more than 30 people and injuring 300. The aftermath was horrific, and the death toll rose as the day wore on and more victims succumbed to their injuries. In the beginning, it wasn't obvious that the explosion was an intentional act of terrorism. It was viewed as simply an accident. Maintenance crews cleaned up the damage overnight, plus throwing away any physical evidence would be crucial to identifying the perpetrator. 5. The disturbing death of Elisa Lam. On January 26, 2013, 21-year-old Canadian tourist Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, when she never checked out on February 1, nor had any contact with her parents. The Los Angeles Police Department was contacted. On February 19, 18 days from the last time she was seen, Lam's body was found floating and naked in a water tank on the roof of the Cecil Hotel. According to the hotel's manager, when Lam first checked in, she was staying in a hostel-style room with other travelers, but later was moved to her own private room due to complaints from her roommates about odd behavior. 6. Jack the Ripper. In 1888, in foggy dark streets of the East End of London, better known as the Whitechapel District, lived a serial killer that would go down in history as Jack the Ripper. Even though the Whitechapel District was known for its violence and crime, the string of murders conducted by Jack the Ripper would terrorize the public like no one had seen before. He was described as a madman with no clear motive, even though his most famous murders only included 5 women, known as the Canonical Five. Many theories suggest that he claimed the lives of up to 11 women. All of the victims of the Canonical Five were prostitutes, as it was common for women who lived in the White Temple District to take on as a means to survive. 7. The Zodiac Killer. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, a serial killer known as the Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California. There were at least 5 victims, but later on, the murderer would claim he killed at least 37 people in total. On December 20, 1968, on Lake Herman Road in Vallejo, 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen were shot and killed while sitting in a parked car in a gravel parking area. By the time police arrived, Betty was found dead, but David was still alive. Unfortunately, he would die on the way to the hospital. This was the first murder that the Zodiac Killer conducted and got away with. 8. The case of John Bennett Ramsey. On December 26, 1996, in Boulder, Colorado, Patsy Ramsey claimed to have discovered a ransom note for her 6-year-old daughter, John Bennett Ramsey, on the back staircase inside the Ramsey home. This prompted her to call the police at 5:52 a.m. to report John Bennett as missing. The only people inside the house were John Ramsey, her father Patsy, her mother, and her brother Berg. Oddly enough, John Bennett's body was found inside the home in the utility room in the basement less than 8 hours later. The body was found by John and duct tape was found across her mouth and a smooth cord around her neck. The police had also claimed that they had not searched the house after Patsy's initial call because there was no reason to believe that John Bennett was in the house. 9. Chicago Tylenol murders. On September 29, 1982, 7 people in the Chicago area ingested poison Tylenol pills, consequently collapsing and dying shortly after. Adam Janus ingested a Tylenol and died at the hospital. When the family came back to mourn, Stanley Janus and his wife Theresa took a Tylenol and died, making it 3 deaths in the same family on the same day. However, this tragedy is what led investigators to connect the dots. 10. The Unsolved Hinterkaifeck Murders. On the evening of March 31, 1922, on Hinterkaifeck Farm in Bavaria, Germany, 6 residents were murdered with a pickaxe. The victims included husband and wife, Andreas and Kazilia Gruber, their widowed daughter Victoria Gabriel, Victoria's children, Kazilia and Joseph, and the family's maid Maria Baumgartner. 2-year-old Joseph was killed in his crib and Maria was killed in her bed, while the rest of the family was then murdered in the barn and stacked on top of each other. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to our channel before you go. Thank you for watching.